Hi, Dana. I don't think this is working. Oh, there we are.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Dana. How are you?
Good. I'm just logging in. I'm kind of eating dinner with my family. I'll join in the conversation in a few minutes.
What does it say on your hat? What does that stand for?
Can you read it to me? What do you see?
It says VIX, but it should be XIV, right?
No, it's actually VIX.
Oh,
It stands for Volatility Index. It's a security that's traded on, it's an exchange traded fund.
oh. Volatility index. Okay.
Yep. See if I keep
So
it
it's
on.
a fund that goes for things that are volatile?
It measures the volatility of the S&P 500.
Right. And so then how does it oh, I see. That's what it does. So that's what you're investing in, is something that does that.
It's a derivative security, yes.
Got it. Yep.
Barbara,
Interesting.
if you excuse me, I'm just going to
Sure,
munch
sure.
a little bit.
Are we early? No one else is here yet, right?
We're just 3 minutes early.
Okay.
All right.
Hi,
Hi there.
how are you today? Long time no see.
Yeah, exactly. I
People were starting to talk.
yeah, I know. I'm getting tired of talking. I'm gonna log out and see if I can log back in as a host of the meeting. Right now, I'm not a host of the meeting, so I will be back momentarily.
Hi.
Hi, Judy.
Hey, Barbara, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Well, thank you very much.
I wanted to thank you
For what?
for being the person who thought of the importance of getting the independent RKG report.
Oh, you're welcome.
I didn't realize that that was you. That was very important. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for thinking of it.
You're welcome. Thanks. This was a very difficult subject, really difficult subject. And And frankly, everybody's right on their own side. So
I know.
you need the wisdom of Solomon. I don't have it.
What are we talking about?
None of us
Yeah.
really do.
The whole, hi Julie, the wisdom that we need to on this eminent domain Northeastern issue.
Right.
It's a hard one.
It's a hard one, but you know, I woke up a couple of times last night, and both times it was the first thing on my head. And we have voted to recommend the borrowing of the money.
Right.
And my understanding is that some people on the committee look at this as a way to get Northeastern to come back to the table. And I respect that. But if you really want that to happen, then recommend both and make a statement, because ultimately it is just a recommendation by us.
The town has to vote on it and they have to vote
Town is gonna
2/3.
vote on it.
And they
Yep,
have to
the town
vote
is gonna
2/3.
vote. But I think we need to make that strong statement of recommend both. Because we recommended the borrowing and then, but not to recommend the authorization. That's a weak statement in my mind.
I agree.
There are three
I think you
options.
need, Julie, I think you need to turn the light on behind you.
Not gonna say it.
It's on. It's,
Oh, okay. There you are. Knew you were out there. No,
that's all I have.
I'm teasing you.
I'll come over.
Yeah,
Here I
no, it's a hard one, Julie. It's hard.
It is.
You know,
The town
it was
is
hard
gonna-
enough. It was
the
hard
town
enough
is
when we had
gonna
to vote
make
for
the
$4 million for sewer system.
Right,
This is hard.
right. Well, the money is in a separate bucket. It's
I know.
CPC fund.
I know, but you know, no, it was just talking about how hard it is, you know.
Oh,
The
it's very
trouble is
hard.
that frankly, what's gonna happen is the people with the most money always win.
Yeah.
Not just because it's right, but it's because they can hold out longer.
It's taken me about 2 years to get to this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of, you know, I get phone calls and emails from people on both sides of the fence. And I listen to both of them. And I make my decision.
And it's true, because on both sides, they're equally passionate.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know, now we lost both John and Bob, both of whom were here.
John, they're back.
I'm here,
here.
but just haven't taken off my Tony mask.
Oh, there you are.
If I sign in as Tony, I am a host, which is valuable when you get all the background noise from other folks. I can mute them, which you can't do if you're just
Right.
That is valuable.
an ordinary bloke.
Jeff, that is such a pretty view behind you. You know what I mean?
Jeff,
All right, what do we got? 1, 2, 3,
East Booth Bay.
7,
do
8.
you have any of Bar Harbor?
Yeah, I've been up there a couple of times, but I'd have to dig through my digital collection to see what I've got for pictures.
That's my favorite place, Bar Harbor.
Is it?
Yeah,
went
my
there,
mom's family's from Northeast Harbor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's stunning place.
I took the
Love it
boat
up
up
there.
to Nova Scotia out of there. It's a nice cruise.
Oh, yeah, the Blue Nose, used to be the Blue
Yeah.
Nose, I don't know if it's
Took that.
Fast.
Yeah.
Take that boat and lift it right out of the water at about
Yep.
60 miles an
Yeah.
hour. And just
Yeah.
fly to
Programming, more recreational opportunities, more things.
I actually took the old fashioned one where you spent the night on it, I think.
Well, that's out of Portland, isn't it? Or wasn't it? Or was it out of Bar Harbor?
Maybe we just went in very early in the morning.
Ah,
Yeah,
No, no, I've always wanted to do that, Barbara. I thought that would have been a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was really fun.
yeah, we
You
did. the
know, I
big-
don't think it's running right now,
No.
which is really hurting Nova Scotia terribly.
Yes,
Yeah.
The
yes.
whole southern
Well,
half
that's
of
the
Nova
thing. Not that they're gonna let us in Canada anyway.
Oh, good, right. But I mean, yeah, Nova
I
Scotia
know.
is so dependent on tourism.
I didn't know.
Well, I think my favorite place up in Scotia was Digby.
Be school.
Oh, yes.
I particularly like a town called Antigonish.
Oh,
Just because
Antigonish.
it's so much fun to say.
Is that the one that has the fabulous old hotel out on the end of the point? Or is that Ingonish?
I'm not sure. Antigonish has the Scottish festival every year.
I've been there, right. Yep. Cape Breton, I bicycled, I want credit. I bicycled the entire loop of Cape Breton with two
Oh.
girlfriends. Yeah, I was, just a few years out of college, different me. But I mean, I did the whole loop.
That's tough. That's not normal.
Wow.
No, it was hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
So do
the
we have a
highlight of-
quorum?
All right, yes, we have a quorum.
We're all here.
More than a quorum. We got everybody.
Yep.
All right, so it is 7:07 PM on Thursday, the used to be tax day, April 15th. And there's a quorum of the Finance Committee present: Julie Tarmy, Bob Vanderslice, Judy Zahora, Barbara Beatty, Jeff Lewis, DeWitt Brown, John Fulgham, and Dana Sheehan. So the meeting is in order. I think that probably our first and maybe only order of business is we need to go through the recommendation regarding Articles 21V and 22.
Well, then Bob, we have to talk about the front letter, right?
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry, the front letter as well.
yes.
The front letter as well. All right, well, let's do 21V and 22 first,
Great.
right? I have a draft here, which I'm going to share. As soon as I figure out how to share in Zoom. How do you think we should work this? Do you want to scroll through it just as we did last night with John? Or should we scroll through it and I read it aloud and maybe offer a little bit of commentary as we go? Or
No, we should let John put it up on his screen because he's the best editor in the world.
I'm happy to take a break. I've been sitting in front of the computer with the book for almost 5
Yeah,
hours.
but
today, so-
you've got better skills than I've ever seen.
well,
Well, Bob can
if
Great.
go
you
his.
get frustrated with my skills or lack thereof, then
Oh, yeah, you're a Microsoft maven. So, okay.
so let's start.
What if we all read through the whole thing like on our own, just to get the whole comprehensive picture, then go
Agreed.
back? Does that make
Let's
sense?
All right, so
I agree. Let's read it and then we'll come back and talk about it.
all right, so I'm not going to say a word. Just let me know. Well, let me know whether you see it on the screen first.
We do?
Yep.
Yes.
Then let me know when to page down.
Can you make it a little bigger? Can you, it's, in my screen, it seems like it could be bigger.
I
You
agree.
just tweak the magnification or something. Yeah,
Oh, so much better. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Could you scroll down, please? Thank you.
Whoops.
A little too far.
A little too far.
Hang on.
Thank you.
Can you go down a little bit
more.
further?
I want to see that, more of that.
Can
Well,
you-
I can't without the page jumping.
Oh, okay.
Can you scroll back up a little bit further then?
I can go up, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you a little bit further even?
Sorry.
Even a little further? I'm sorry. I'm a slow reader. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Can I offer another suggestion? Bob, could you email this to the committee now and let us read it individually?
Well, I like reading it like this also.
Okay.
I could do that. I would have to close the document to attach it to the email, though.
That's
Right.
why I'd like to keep it open like this.
All right, never mind then.
Now, can you move it up just a tad? Scroll down just a little. Yeah, stop there now. Thank you. Okay, can you keep scrolling, please? If ever, yeah. Thanks, yeah.
I think I read slower than you, Barbara.
Oh, really? I didn't know it was possible. I'm a
You wanna-
very slow.
Do you want to go back up, Jeff?
That's all right. I'll pick it up.
I'm a
Can you-
very slow reader.
Sorry, Bob, could you email me this as well? I just want to be able to.
I'm gonna, when we have a break in the action, I will, but I do have to close the document in order to attach it to the email.
All right, thanks. Could you just roll back up to number 2 again, please? Yeah, that's good.
Whenever others are ready, can we keep scrolling?
Bob, is that 1.5 million overstated?
No, that's what Article 21, whatever, 21V is. It's $1.5 million.
Yeah, but the state match at 40%.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if you want to. I understand what you're saying, that the article is for 1.5 with the state match. You're right, the taxpayers would pay
Okay.
a portion of that. And there's more detail about that down below. So each of these things has more detail coming up.
Bob, it's not what the taxpayers are going to pay in total. It's actually more than that, kind of the interest.
All of that is down below.
Yeah, so let's read all the way
Yeah,
through it.
exactly. Let's read the whole thing and then we can come back.
I'm ready for you to scroll. I don't
Oh
know.
my. I'm ready for you to scroll a little more if others are.
Okay to go?
Whoops,
Yeah, this one,
it hops to the next page.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Microsoft.
Okay, do you want to scroll a bit more? Have others read it all?
I'm good.
Dana, there's the presentation of the total cost.
Bob, where'd the 930 come from?
Bond council,
Based on the 4%?
yeah. It's right out of the bond council schedule. It's the total.
Disagree with that so far.
All right, let's keep
Scroll.
reading now. Let's keep reading now.
Scroll, yeah. Oops,
Sorry.
Yeah, keep scrolling down just a bit.
right, perfect. Oop,
I know. You gotta hit it just right.
It flips, right?
Yeah.
We can't go back up a bit?
Yeah, I can.
there, perfect.
Yes, good.
Can we move forward?
Is there more?
Oh, yeah. there's
Yeah.
one. How long? No, I'll wait till you tell me to move.
This is really, really nicely done, Bob.
Thank you.
Spells it out nicely. Can we go down?
Okay.
I feel like it's going to jump at any moment.
And stop.
Change.
Are we ready to scroll down?
Yes, please.
After a cost.
I think you can probably scroll a little bit. Whoop.
That's good.
Everyone good to roll down a little bit?
Yeah.
Yep. Think you can scroll.
We're almost at the end. That's the end. I didn't write a conclusion.
I don't think you need a conclusion, Bob. I think you started with the conclusion.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right.
This is really beautifully done.
It's really, it's excellent.
Wow.
Careful, precise, the charts.
So do we want to take a spin back through it?
Minor edits. Really beautifully done.
I agree.
Somebody do some quick math for me.
Sure.
What was the estimate, the combination of, I think it was 180,000 or $200,000 per acre?
Yeah,
And-
I did that math too, Jeff, and I'm not sure.
Oh,
Fact-
yeah,
In fact, here, you got to promise not to laugh at my giant calculator. But that's the number.
way into it. Is that, and that's for, so that's the map we saw the other night?
Yeah.
Okay, you did the same thing I was thinking.
But what I think, but I'm not sure the difference is that it's not all the conservation easement, that the Canoe Beach piece is just an access easement. I'm not certain of that though.
I don't think that's in the acreage though. When I was looking at the map today, I don't think the access easement is in the acreage.
Okay.
I don't think it is. I can double check that.
They have the acreage is stated on the map. The map looks very generous but there's some, numbers on the lower corner with what the numbers is. It was 12 something acres.
Isn't it 12.5, something like that?
12.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I used to come up with that number that was there a second ago.
Okay, so that, yeah, so the estimates built into the cost reflect the map that we just saw, not the old map.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that's what it ties out to me.
But what's the acreage number again? To 12.2?
12.5.
Okay, so it's 9.62 plus 2.65. That's the two conservation easements, and then the egress easement is roughly 0.82 acres. So I guess it is all it looks like it's all included in that number.
I'm good with the numbers.
Right, but let's do it in order, just so we don't get ourselves confused jumping all around.
So Dana, let me just throw this in there. So Dana had sent me right before the meeting, I haven't fully looked at it, a kind of another version of his risk assessment. So Dana, I don't know, collectively, and Dana, do you think it makes sense to throw that up now, read through that, and then just have that in the back of our mind as we go through this? And if you want to make any points, then everybody will know the context of the point you're going to make.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
And it's a relatively short document, so I don't think it's going to derail us in a significant way. But out of respect to Dana's work,
Can you share, Dana, or do I have to?
I'm trying to share it. I'm going to go find the document and share. Is that
Okay, but you have the capability or the ability to
Okay,
share,
thank
or do
you.
I have to do something to?
I think you have to make him host, Bob.
No, I think I can share. I can do it. I can do it unilaterally.
Wow,
There we go.
so you have the key.
So maybe we do the same thing rather than critique Dana's document. Just let's read through it. How about that?
That's great, that's great.
Better.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now, how about I stop sharing my screen and then we'll go back?
No, please, I haven't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll have this ready if we need to come back to it. Otherwise, we'll go back to Bob's document. Does that sound okay?
Yes, yes, I think that's great.
You see it? Yes?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes,
Can our audience also see what we're seeing?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I mean, they have to be on a computer. They can't, obviously can't see it
Oh, if they're on a phone, no, okay.
on the phone.
There's very little about this I suggest changing. I think you're very clear. You made it very clear the options, you made it very clear what the town's requirements are, you made it very clear about the caps, you made it very clear about when the money runs out, it runs out. It's really very, very nicely done.
I agree, and it has the details to support each section very clearly.
Tried to strike a balance between enough and not too much.
Well done, because it's not in any way, the words themselves don't provide any controversy, they just are. Well done,
Right.
It's straightforward.
that's the word.
Yeah, this paragraph, that probably took me the longest to write because I was trying to capture a sense of what I saw. Is that,
Can you again magnify it up a little bit? Thank you.
I think it certainly is the spirit of the discussion.
the squeaking you hear in the background is my administrative assistant, my four-legged administrative assistant.
Which one?
Which one? I don't know which one this is.
It's
This is,
okay.
Timmy the Corgi.
So I'm just trying to think if somehow adding some language that, I think some on the committee believe that I think your sentence where you say, however, half the committee believes the decision to authorize an eminent domain taking is a personal and philosophical decision best left to the town. That's definitely true. But I also think part of it, at least for me, is that I believe that Northeastern does likely have rights to their
Let's
property.
have property rights.
And so that's part of the, I mean, maybe that's cloaked in the philosophical decision, but I just wonder if we could
I'm
make that
not
language a
sure.
little stronger.
Yeah, I'm not sure I follow what you're saying. I think what I'm hearing is you're philosophically opposed to the idea of an eminent domain taking.
I'm not explicit.
Eminent domain is,
Not 100%, but just yeah, I mean, I'm inclined towards not thinking it's a good thing, personally.
Done, though, that
eminent domain
everybody,
is a good thing.
I think everybody, certainly we know in this committee, everybody had an opinion.
Yeah,
And how they got to their philosophical decision, if we enumerate that, we have to, we call out specifically what you feel, why you came to that decision. We'd have to do the same for the rest of the other 7 members.
that's, I'll have to think about that, but that's, I'll.
I
yeah,
agree,
Maybe
Judy.
you're right. Okay.
I think it covers both
Yeah,
sides.
it's not, I don't have a strong, I mean, I was bringing it up because I thought of it, and if
Right. Yeah.
catalyzed any further discussion, that would be okay, but I'm okay to be ramped down.
Eminent domain is for sewers and for roads.
It's eminent domain, yeah. Well, it's for municipal purposes.
Right.
Yes. The first one is sewers, the second one is roads.
Schools, parks.
Yes,
All right, so are we done saying everybody's fine with the first two paragraphs?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Are we looking at edits as
I wish
well?
somebody could say something about property rights,
Pam.
but that's another story.
You know, I feel like there's a lot here. And we expected, I don't know, maybe I'm slower than everybody else, but I'd like to digest this and get the edits back. There's a lot here.
What do you mean by that in terms of digest it?
We have to have it done.
Read it and comment on it.
Excuse me?
Read it and comment on it.
But what are you talking
That's
about?
what
Are
we're
you
doing.
talking about timing?
Edits.
No, but when?
It has to be in tomorrow, Dana.
Right. And that means we'd have to see it again too.
Not necessarily, because we could
Yes, we would.
send
Oh,
out.
yes. If
Hold
there are
on.
any
Yes, in
edits,
time, we would have to
see it.
see
I have the
anything.
floor, please.
Yep, yep.
We can send out, we're going to continue to talk about this. So we can send out our additional comments separate from the warrant. We've already talked about that.
Well, if,
You mean at town meeting? We talked about
Before,
presenting, we continue to deliberate and discuss, and then possibly present more statements at town meeting, but not sending out another mailing.
right.
we can't, can we? I was gonna say we could have another meeting tomorrow, but we don't have
We can't.
enough time to post it.
And we still have to write the cover letter.
We'll have to write the cover letter.
All right, so what if we keep going and then because there was a couple places where I made notes where, maybe there's other tweaks, or maybe Dana, I know you a little too far, Bob.
I'm sorry.
There was a paragraph there we hadn't covered. Yeah, there. So Dana, I mean, if you, I mean, I know it puts a lot of pressure on you and everybody else. But if you can, if you can kind of come up with the themes of the edits you'd like to see specifically, and if we could somehow incorporate, some of those sentiments or the major sentiments that you have in this letter that Bob is, that we're going through now, that would be ideal. Again, I'm not demanding that, but I'm just saying, maybe approach it with that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we have some time, so it doesn't have to be.
No, Dana, we don't have time.
We
I
don't
don't
have-
understand that. We need to see this as a committee again. That's the problem. So we need to work it tonight, and then it goes to the printer tomorrow. That's all.
That's correct.
If we send things to Bob tonight to update, then as a committee, we don't get to see it before it goes to the printer. And I'm not in favor of that.
We can't do that.
There's
The committee has to see-
1,928 words here, and it's some of us, like the whole thing as it is.
Well, then let's take care of it now, Dana, is what we're saying. Any changes that we make need to be made tonight.
Correct.
We're not saying you can't make changes or suggestions. We respect that totally. I do. I understand totally, but it's got to be done tonight. We're under the gun here to get this off to the printer tomorrow.
That's what I meant by timing.
Right.
I had a dream about property rights. Does that count?
Oh, my goodness.
Was it a dream or a nightmare?
Well, a nightmare.
Nightmare.
Nightmare. But I think thank you, Jeff. But I think that there's something should be said about property rights of individual owners of property for 60 years.
So my nightmare was more around, what would the town do to me? Does everybody know where I live? I'm on a 5,000 square foot plot. And if I decided that I wanted to put a 5,000 square foot footprint, and I wanted to go up 5 stories and put a widow's walk up there with a porch that would block out every neighbor around, but I would have a great view of Boston Harbor, and I could send semaphore and flashing light messages to ships going in and out of Boston Harbor.
And you could probably lure airplanes
I
past
probably
overhead.
could if I put a
But you
light
can't
up
do
there.
that with the
You
zo-
can do
but you
that,
can't do that with the zoning.
Right,
But
the
I
zoning,
wonder
zoning
what the-
limits the height of your building.
What would the town do to me? Would they probably stop me, wouldn't they?
Yes, the
Yes.
zoning would.
The zoning, yeah. So isn't that what the town's doing in part of this is saying, we're not taking their land. We're gonna force them to be, well, pay them, quite honestly. We're gonna pay you for land use different. And you know, that building that you got planned isn't gonna fit in that footprint anymore.
Basically it.
I wonder if they would pay me if I were to build that 5-story structure. Something to think about. Anyway. I don't have an issue with it, I guess. I would expect some back pressure.
I guess that means you're getting some sleep though, Jeff.
Yeah, that was it, 1 hour.
All right, so we need as a committee to decide what we're going to do now. So Jeff, well, I guess we just walk down, starting with Jeff, because he's the first one on my little square list. What do you think about what Bob has written here? What kind of changes would you like to recommend?
Who are you asking?
You? I'm just trying to get a sense, get us to move. Where do we need to go next? And I thought if we ask one by one, we can at least get that done.
That's a useful approach, Judy.
Mhm. I agree.
I still don't understand the question.
The question, I think, as I understand it, is, do you have any edits that you want to make?
Oh, no, I have not. I just,
Then you find the document as is.
I think it was well written. I wish I could write this clearly.
You do.
No, This
You do.
this is very good.
Okay. Who's next on your list, Judy?
There's a lot, by the way, for the average person to take
Yeah.
in. I'll tell you that. It's not
I know.
not light reading.
It's
No, it's not.
dense.
Julie, what do you think?
I think it's well read. I mean, obviously we have to go through it for grammatical edits and things like that. The website that you have in here that's up on the screen right now, is that so that people can look it up when they get this?
Yeah, I don't know if the link will actually be preserved,
No, not in the book.
In by hand.
but they could type it in by hand.
Mhm.
You can't see it because it came up on my other screen, but
Okay.
it takes you to right
Right.
to the proposed expansion page.
Right.
No, so I think it's well written. I think it contains all of the information, no matter what type of a learner you are, what type of an absorber you are. You've got your charts, you've got it written out. You explain it in a couple of different ways. I don't have any edits or suggestions to make other than going through it for the grammar.
Let me, I do have a question for John.
Yeah,
Will the charts print well?
if they're black,
I'm not worried about this,
the
this
text,
left-hand side of it. I'm worried about this.
I think your little figure legends there are gonna be really tough to read if you could blow those up like 3 or 4 times, you know,
Okay.
on your pie chart.
Yep.
Those numbers,
And bold them more.
so those won't, yeah.
They're faint. They need
But
to be
otherwise,
bolded.
I think so I cobbled together, obviously not the complete book, and there's a lot of significant things missing, and it's already up to 130 pages. So I would imagine it's going to be like 200 pages. So I don't know what the printer's going to do when I tell them that.
John, do you have the ability to print in 1200 DPI?
Do I, or the printer uses some, I don't understand his technology, but it's not purely, laser printer. I feel like it must be, I don't know, some kind of old school, almost printing press kind of thing, because there's certain features of shading and of grays and dark colors that don't work well. And if it was just a purely inkjet or laser printer process, that wouldn't be a problem. So I don't really understand his restrictions, but one of the things that I'm worried about is I'm going to send him this 200 plus page PDF, and he's going to tell me these pages aren't going to work, these pages aren't going to work, these pages aren't going to work. And they're not text pages, but they're all the appendix pages that are PowerPoints and things that people didn't really know they had to adapt to of some printing conventions. So that's a long-winded answer, but it's simpler is better and bigger font is better.
All right, so John, you're the next one down on my squares. What do you have anything that you like to see in here that's not in? Are you good with what's written here?
I would say I'm good in general. There's a couple kind of tonal things that I think are important to add. Scroll back down, actually.
Can we catch them as we go through?
Yeah. But one of the things was in.
Oh, okay.
That a little more. Okay, so like bullet point number 1. Let me read it again, and then I'll gather my thoughts. So one of the things that, I guess has kind of drained me for the whole week and made me in not such an optimistic mood is that, the conversation that we had with the lawyer, Jeff, on Tuesday night, basically to me, distilled down the dynamic, the situation. We talk later about what is the selectmen's plan, and we're obviously in a point now where the NPT and individuals and the town through the selectmen have entered litigation with respect to the Article 97 claims. And to me, that we should somehow acknowledge that has occurred, and that in a way that is keeping us from having the full conversation that I think we need to have to truly flesh this out. And to me, that's one of the reasons that we have landed in this kind of awkward position, is because we can't really ask the questions. They haven't been able to have the conversations because they're restricted, because they're in the middle of a legal proceeding, so you can't say in bullet point 1, this allows negotiations to begin at any time, because you can have a certain type of negotiation at this point in time, but you don't have full freedom to negotiate because there's restrictions on what you can say and claim, because you're going to damage your position in that case, which is basically what we learned on Monday night. So to kind of paint the picture that it's that we're not kind of compromised at some level. Maybe it was with good intention, and maybe in the end it will all work out fine. But I just think we're in a place where that dynamic should at least be acknowledged.
Right, well, how about we do this? How about if we say, this allows negotiations to begin at any time, comma, within the bounds of legal proceedings, comma.
Okay, within the bounds.
Bounds of legal proceedings.
Buckingham Palace and around London in her honor, supported by the country. Prince William and Prince Harry, who were 15 and 12 years old at the time, walked
Are
behind.
whoever's on the iPhone? Thank you. Please mute.
I know
So that gives a little boundary to it.
Yeah,
I didn't write exactly what you were
Yeah.
dictating, but is that,
yeah, I think you tempered it a little more than I would have, but let me reread it. Like if you would have added that have limited conversation.
I don't think we need to be more detailed than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think this captures that there's an ongoing legal situation that needs to be respected. And
But
that,
does everyone on the committee think that that's a 100% positive thing?
I think it's an is what it is.
Okay, that's a statement you could say about anything.
I know that, but what I mean is, I don't see it as I don't see it as a positive or a negative. I see it as being sort of,
Which has restricted negotiation or something.
it has not restricted negotiating because
I think the legal process has.
I would agree.
how is it?
I don't think we can declare that at all.
I agree with you, Judy.
What did you say? You broke up, Judy?
I said, I don't think we can say that has restricted legal proceedings at all because we don't know what's going on with legal proceedings.
Exactly. We
Yeah,
don't.
that's part of the problem.
But we know that for a year, they essentially have, the lawyers exchange letters, but there's been
But
no
they've been marching in place.
substantial conversation between Northeastern and
But
the town.
No, John, we don't, the trouble is, we don't know. We're not on the
But that's
select
what they
bench.
told us. That's what they told us.
remember what, I don't remember which attorney
Mhm.
said it, but if when you go into mediation, first thing they do is give you a lecture about, what's said in this room stays in this room. And that's their way of saying, ongoing stuff is kind of
Private.
private. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I honestly don't believe we have the whole picture.
And I don't think we can.
Well, should we not acknowledge that then? That we don't have the whole picture?
Mr. Chairman, this is Tony.
Yeah,
Can I offer some insight maybe?
sure, absolutely.
Please do.
So first, just a little note there. Article 22 authorizes an eminent domain process. It doesn't require. The Board of Selectmen, if it were to be approved, the Board of Selectmen would then have to vote to pursue it.
Yep. Thank you. That
Um,
I was trying to say it requires the ADA process, but you're right. The way it reads is
You
incorrect.
could say author, yeah. And I might be able to answer a question
Mhm.
on what you were, if you can ask it again. You were asking about what Jeff Blake said regarding the current litigation and,
Yeah, I got the impression from Jeff that he explicitly, so maybe I'm confusing things, but I thought when, we talked about most recent offers, in writing, and that was well over a year ago. And I thought that we also learned that, just anything other than lawyers sending back, the statements that we've seen in the press, not much other than that has happened.
correct.
Okay. So my characterization of that dynamic is that the current legal proceedings are creating a stalemate that isn't optimal for negotiations, and that's why we're in this. That's why we're at this point now.
The legal process has limited any attempts at negotiation.
Yeah, or maybe any is the wrong word, but it just has it's just a game of chicken,
Yeah, I don't think it has. I mean, if anything, the not the threat, but that
Mhm.
the legal case gives more impetus to go into negotiation.
I agree with you, Bob.
You're
That was
saying-
my understanding from what Mark from the Board of
Right.
Selectmen was saying, that this
You're
was a
saying-
way of giving us leverage for
no.
negotiations.
No, I get that. I get that I get that leverage can be established if everything is successful. But I also think I get that if we're not successful, then the opportunity for the leverage that we have by just the mere threat of doing eminent domain is not utilized. So what am I saying? I
I
just,
don't think we know whether that's the case or not.
we just, well, if people don't talk and if nothing substantial happens for a year, we know that. We know that's the current situation. We know that that's happened.
But my understanding is that this is a way of having leverage so that negotiations can happen.
Yeah, I mean, the reason nobody's talking is the town certainly has put forth a number of efforts to talk.
I think you guys are, so you have existing litigation regarding Article 97, claiming that the property is Article 97. There's been some effort, but hasn't turned into a sit down regarding mediating that case. That's what Jeff Blake talked to you about.
Mhm.
If eminent domain were to be authorized and the town were to pursue that, that becomes a separate court case. And that's the negotiating piece I think you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the legal gag order that's choking the flow of information to the
Right.
finance committee. It's
Right.
not the ADA.
Right.
It's the legal, and you're right, it's 97 is the one that's currently going on. But once this one goes on, I'm guessing the same legal
Right.
gag order is going to come in, and that flow of information is just going to fester out.
Well, I
You
don't
know,
know.
that, I don't want to call it fester, bad choice in words, but it's going to create it.
So I don't know, the way I look at this, I'm gonna tell a little story here too, which is, what was it, December of 2018, there was a public meeting where Northeastern presented their plans to the town. There were probably 300 or more people in the town hall. And I remember they said, okay, look, we've got 3 plans. They rejected 2 of them. And when they flashed the 3rd one up on the screen, I've never seen anything like this in a public meeting before. When they flashed it up on the screen, there was complete silence in the room. And then there was a chorus of no from virtually the unanimous body. And since that meeting, Northeastern really has not been communicating with the town. And they've been proceeding on with the project that drew the chorus of no's, that was, you know, the least favored of all of the alternatives. And what I'm taking away from that is they think they can proceed, you know, without really any realistic, what's the word, influence from the town of Nahant. But the only thing they've responded to is the possibility of eminent domain. And that has kind of pricked them to start sending out these very aggressive letters that appear in my mailbox every month or so. So what do I conclude from that? The possibility of eminent domain they see as a worry. It's something that may affect them and is likely going to give the town some influence over this. Influence in the sense of, you know, asking them to comply with zoning bylaws, asking them for their fair share of the town expenses. And in all of that, I'm going to layer over top of it, I am not opposed to them expanding. But, you know, they do need to respect the town, they need to respect the local laws, and they need to pay their fair share. I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, it's good.
I also agree. So, all right, and I don't really mean to push, but I see the clock. Where do we go from here?
Keep scrolling then.
I agree, and I remember the meeting.
Can you continue scrolling then, Bob, until John says stop?
Or anybody to stop.
Hold on for a second. Can I get in on this? Number 1, the last sentence there, could we change that to the town may withdraw should the total cost of the town exceed the available funds, and then get rid of the rest of it?
Well, I don't know. I think the rest of it's important because it's not just, you know,
Oh, no, I mean, no, I'm sorry. Let me say it again. Just begin the sentence with the town,
Oh, okay, got it.
and get rid of the fact part of it too. It's just
Okay,
words, but
okay.
that's the way it would work, right?
Yep, yeah.
Hey, and Bob, you might be surprised to hear this from me, but I agree with what you said too. It's a
Okay.
question of negotiation, and there hasn't been any.
Yeah, I know, which is a shame.
Yeah, but we can't blame Northeastern for all of that.
No, okay. But we'll
It takes 2 to negotiate.
it does take 2 to negotiate. Yes, exactly. I was going to say something. I forgot what the heck I was going to say.
2 is fine. The only thing I think about 3 is you do a good job of teasing out the 1.5 and the 3, but then you kind of seem to bundle it back together there. And to me, that could potentially confuse voters because it makes it sound like the town may spend 4.5 million, but the town is never going to spend 4.5, right? I mean, they're going to spend the 1.5. Am I missing that? Does that seem confusing? at all
Yeah,
to
I know.
anybody else?
I struggled with this too. The way I tried to be consistent here is the way I understand it is
Yeah.
the donors will donate to the town of Nahant,
Okay.
you know, with a restriction that it has to be spent on this. So it's actually the town that is going to spend the 4.5.
Okay, I get what you're saying. And you're saying because you clarified in the bullet point 2 that it's 3 million in donations, that people will be clear about that? I don't know.
Well, I don't know that, if it's not clear, we need to fix it. But
Article
I
10,
see what you're saying, John.
yeah, because people will just read the town may spend, maybe just,
If we can, the
maybe
one
just,
point,
just,
The town may spend 4.5 consisting of 3 million
or
and
just, say-
1.5.
or maybe just comma again, of which
In
$3 million
parentheses.
is from private donations.
Can
right,
I make a suggestion?
that helps.
The two articles cap the amount that may be spent on the eminent domain process at 4.5 million.
In total,
Oh, isn't,
Yeah, that's good. I like
that
that.
does it.
It re-emphasizes it again. Because you kind of hit the 3 million, the generous 3 million donation 3 times in 2, 3, and 4.
That helps with 3.
Again, this is wordsmithing a little bit, but would you mind taking out the only from the Nahant taxpayers will pay only, will only pay,
no, that's fine.
will pay, because only, I
Yep,
think
all right, and only can be,
$1.5 million is
Yep.
not a dismissive amount of money. I think the rest is good.
This is the small point where I can raise, is taxpayer 1 or 2 words?
it is one, yeah.
It's
That's-
1 word, I think.
That's why it's double, it's blue underlined.
Right. It's a small grammatical point, but
I tried to say that, but I was on mute.
I remember, Julie, and I thought, well, now we're at that article, let's say it.
Right, there may be other instances of that.
I think there are, but we'll catch them.
One other point here on this number 4, the Nahant taxpayers are gonna pay more than 1.5 million. That's just the borrowing. Plus interest.
Minus state match.
Minus state match.
Or, well, it says state matched right after here.
But the idea of minus makes the point clearer that that there's a balancing going on.
Take out the through.
Yeah.
I mean, the principal and interest adds up to roughly $2.578 million.
Right, but less the state match, the
let's
tax,
say, what's 40% of that number or 60% of that number
it's all right there.
down there, right?
So the total, Dana, you're right. The total is 2.43, of which the state would pay 810 and the taxpayers would pay $1,620,000.
Yeah, wouldn't it be more clear to have that as a separate statement? So we know, I mean, it's all town funds. It comes from the state, we're happy about that. But the total amount versus the state match is 2 separate thoughts.
Yeah, but let's have that discussion when we get there, just so we.
I agree, Bob, but just shouldn't it be consistent in this place as well as further down?
All right, why don't we do this?
If you just say over the course of the 30-year loan.
Thanks to the $3 million donations and the state match, then the Nahant payers will only pay 1.6.
It gets way too complicated.
Yeah, we're getting,
Yeah, I agree. It's too complicated.
KISS is important for principle. Keep it simple, stupid.
I was trying to keep this. Yeah, but we don't even say CPC borrowing yet. It just gets too complicated.
Yeah.
Bob,
Yes.
Thanks to the 3 million in donations mentioned above.
Yep.
And the state match, Nahant taxpayers
Wait till I get my fingers on the keyboard in the right spot.
Nahant taxpayers will pay $1.5 million plus interest.
Why don't we say what that interest, I think Dana's point is, rather than just, I mean, would it be better to include what that interest number is? Just
1,000,062, what was it, 6250?
Okay, so no, wait, Jeff, where
That's
were you
over
going?
30 years or something. It's too complicated.
Jeff, where were you going? This and the state and the state?
I was just trying to keep it simple. I was just saying that if, thanks to the $3 million, which is not our money, and the state match, again, not our money.
Yep.
Then the taxpayers are left with the 1.5 million plus interest. And if people want to combine 1.5 million in the interest in your model down below, I think you came up with 1,006,250.
Yeah, well, it's actually less than the 1,000,005 if you're putting together the donations and the state match. Right, because
That's right, Bob. That's right,
Because
Bob.
it's 60 or 50% of whatever the percentage is of 1,006,250. Whatever is left is the Nahant's pound of flesh.
yeah, Nahant's pound of flesh, the taxpayer's pound of flesh is 1,620,000. Principal and interest without the state match.
Right. But if you take that 810 from the 1,620,000, isn't that Nahant's share?
No, okay, the total principal and interest is 1,000,005 principal plus 930 in interest for a total of 2,430,000. So of that 2,430,000, taxpayers through the CPC surcharge will pay $1,620,000, and the state will match that with $810,000.
Yeah, so 1,620, that's Nahant's pound of flesh
Yes,
of the 5,430.
yes,
That's a great deal.
it is a great deal. I wish I could get that deal on my own personal money. Whoops, we're finger on the wrong button.
Don't tell Lynn Spencer that, though. She'll want to raise her rates.
Yeah, Lynn can be my investment advisor. She could tell me how to do that. All right, so where are we going with this? Now that I've completely goofed up the paragraph.
Well, help yourself out and delete a lot of that that is in there a couple of times. From the Nahant taxpayers.
Will pay.
Cost over 30 years.
Or 54, whatever it was.
Yeah. The problem with that is that you're introducing a new number.
Hmm.
Well, what can we just do this? The townspeople will pay. No, I could do that in my head. Why did I have to look, dummy? The townspeople will pay 1 million. Like that? Is that better or worse?
There's extra lines here and doubling
Oh, I
up.
know. Yeah, I'm sorry. Then it would end.
At cost.
Let me delete this stuff.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
With all due respect, it's gonna be confusing when you net it like that.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, people a lot of people pay mortgages, especially the real estate taxpayers in town. They're gonna understand principal and interest if you combine the two, and then a separate statement. And this is further reduced by the state match on the CPC funds.
Give me words.
See table below.
Oh. Okay,
And you want to say, and the further reduction
let's see.
of the state match?
Kind of the objective of this piece up front was to just get the headlines out there.
Right.
You have can you go to another document and just put the original up there? Next to it?
This is the only one I've got, so
Okay.
I do have a printed copy, so I can quickly retype the original if you want.
I don't know. It feels like we're getting bogged down. We are getting bogged down, but
Where did
I
that-
agree. I think we're at a point where we're starting to split hairs. And I think we need to say what we want to say and move on.
I agree, Judy.
It's not an easy subject, guys. It's not. And it'll be impossible to make this so plain, because it's not that kind of a subject. All we could do is our best.
But the combination of the CPC funding and ADA eminent domain process is the town's, I don't want to call it attempt, but it's the town's answer to risk mitigation. That's what's providing the control
Yes,
for this process.
yes,
And that's what I think these 4 bullets are attempting to
that's what I'm
get down
trying
to.
to say. I printed this out. Where did it go?
yeah. So I'm just not to distract us even more, but I'm looking at the chat box now, and Josh and Paul Spurn are making the point that maybe bullet point number 3 handcuffs us a bit, because if we make that statement that the town can only spend $4.5 million, and we think of that $4.5 million as a combination of the 1.5 CPC borrowing and then 3 million in donations, what if the cost is higher and what if the donations are higher? Like, do we need to somehow acknowledge that the cap for the town is always 1.5 million and the donations are 3 million at a minimum of 3 million? Does that make sense?
That provides us flexibility.
Yeah,
Yeah, you wouldn't want to turn that, if someone said, I want to give you $10 million,
right,
we would accept that.
right.
Oh, I see. In number 2,
Right,
of
Yes,
at
I see.
least 3 million.
of at least 3 million.
Yeah, at least is what the word would help.
Okay, so
Article
number,
2.
Right before the 3 million of at least 3 million.
There you go.
Now, somewhere up above, it does not only provides the caps and the, the controls, but also the flexibility.
Right. There's
It allows negotiations to begin respecting legal proceedings now in process, mitigates risks and provides flexibility.
flexibility in what?
Well, with the term at least, and I remember it in the writing was is sort of the unspoken. So if somebody does come to the table with an additional 0.5 million, not saying it will, and nobody can commit to it will, but that is the wording of the article, isn't it?
Okay, so maybe we just leave it the way, it just provides
Flexibility, yeah.
flexibility, period.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now we got to tweak 3 though, to kind of get away from that cap language, right?
The cap, I think, is persuasive. People understand what a cap means.
I think the cap is there, period, in the article. But
Right.
It does have this phrase at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, unless the
Okay.
town receives additional non-payer.
Okay. Maybe
What do
that,
the comments say now?
I don't
So
know.
that does it, that phrase, doesn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, I guess it does.
I'm gonna,
Good thing we got Roger in the audience.
he's out there with his thesaurus.
Yeah.
So,
But we keep moving, and if we,
no, wait, this, I gotta,
unless, yeah.
are we okay with 4?
It's a little unclear because we talk about borrowing $1.5 million. And then now we're talking about they'll pay back $1 million plus interest. So people are looking at this from outside. It's clearer if it's stated as $1.5 million plus, well, whatever, even just use the total, $2.43 million principal and interest. And then the second sentence, this amount would be further reduced by the state match on CPC funds, and just plug in a number.
Let me read the way it originally was. Just, so the original was, thanks to the $3 million in donations mentioned above, Nahant taxpayers will pay only 1.5 million through a state matched CPC borrowing. When it may be clearer to say Nahant taxpayers will pay only 1.5 million plus interest through a state matched CPC borrowing.
Yeah, that's better. I like principal and interest together, though. I don't know what everyone else.
No, yeah. Okay. Thanks to the $3 million mentioned above, comma. Nahant taxpayers will pay 1.5 million plus interest. Probably one extra space there, huh? I'm sorry, I know it's painful watching somebody else.
But you really don't, it's not really 1.5, it's that other number, 1.6 or
Right,
something.
that's what the plus interest is.
Oh, okay.
1.5 plus interest.
$930,000. If it comes in at 4%.
But then that's just a possible if it comes in at 4%.
Yeah,
And then you have to have reduced by the state match.
right. And let's go to a second sentence there. To talk about the matching.
Yeah, you had a good second sentence there for the state match, Dana.
I wish I could remember what I said.
It was a really nice succinct sentence about the reduction that the state match provides.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. That's one word, taxpayers.
Oh, yeah. And I don't like the way it was going to come out anyway. Taxpayers will pay.
Why don't you can't just say the state match further reduces the total eminent domain cost? Oh, the taxpayers portion, that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't reduce the cost, it reduces the,
Taxpayers portion.
yeah.
Yep, that's right. And then you need an apostrophe after the S in taxpayers. You see where I say?
Yeah, no, I'm
Okay, got it.
hold the thought. Just leave it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Barbara, I'm sorry.
After taxpayers, you need an apostrophe to make it a possessive.
Yes, okay. But I'm not going to argue strunk and white on anybody tonight.
I think the last sentence there, you don't need it.
I love it.
No, I think it's important. But what
I
does
like
the-
it as well. We'd
Okay.
all like to get that kind of leverage.
Yeah, I just questioned the 3 times. I'm not sure that that's right.
Well, it's for 1,620,000 and 530. So for every
What's your numerator?
5430, 123. The monitor you guys are on is not a touch screen, so I have to do it with the mouse. And what did we say? It was 1,630,000. So it's greater, it's 3 1/3 times. All right, are we okay? I'm not trying to rush. I'm just trying to keep us moving.
I mean, do we want to talk about this whole section, the selectmen's plan? You know, I think, you know, shouldn't we leave that for the selectmen to put out there? Why is it in our comments?
I don't, it gives context. It
I mean, in effect, it's kind of, it's what we've talked about with various people, and, you know, I'm not saying it's factually incorrect, but we don't really need to restate it here.
I don't know. I'm that one I'm pretty adamant about. I think this gives absolutely important context to the whole thing. I mean, you know, why are we entertaining eminent domain? It's
Any factual domain is power to the people making the decision who are going to be pushing the voting button. So I agree with its inclusion.
Yep, so do I.
I agree with it also.
okay. And they want us to get rid of absolutely. They want us to use like instead of similar. I think similar to is better.
And are you getting rid of absolutely?
I don't know. You want to get rid of absolutely?
I think absolutely is a somewhat problematic term in
Go on.
there. I think that's better.
Okay. Whoops, sorry, the page jumped.
Go back again, up a little bit. So just with respect to the golf course, I should probably know this better than I do, but I thought I had heard that that the eminent domain component of that dynamic was kind of late to the negotiating process. It was kind of like the final kind of
Yeah.
final assurance, but it wasn't
If
really, it didn't really start as a purely eminent domain.
Yeah, so I was actually on FINCOM at the time. I was a
Yeah.
newbie on FINCOM at the time.
Yeah.
And the way it went down was the folks showed up with this plan to develop the golf course, and literally it was a plan showing houses and streets where the golf course now is, and it scared the crap out of everybody. Put an article into the town meeting, and the original article just said to purchase the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
And then a late addition was to change it from purchase or take by eminent domain the property. So it actually wasn't even an authorization. It was just or take by eminent domain in the article.
It just added the language.
Yeah, and that was what got the folks to the negotiating table. So it wasn't even the legal nicety of it or the legal authorization of it. I don't know if that helped your
No, I mean, it's more that yeah, it's given your historical recollection, it makes sense as written.
This is a small point, similar to the absolutely. They view eminent domain. Do you need the very? It just makes it a little,
Where are you? Which paragraph?
okay, second sentence, top, the first paragraph there, they view eminent domain as a very last resort. Couldn't you simply say as a last resort?
Yeah.
You never, in legal proceedings, things can happen, but
Yep, okay.
that is the point of it. This is the last resort.
Yep.
Does it want a comma?
It's questioning the comma, but it's not certain. And I tend to be comma happy, so.
I think it means after
So the
necessary.
comma after necessary.
At comma
Oh.
after necessary.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Or you're comma happier.
Just makes it a clearer sentence.
Yeah, it does. Whoops.
You want to put in at least again in front of the 3 million here? Of which at least 3 million?
Does that match what the article says?
Well, we had said at least up.
Yeah, we said,
before, so I didn't know if we wanted.
I guess it does. The town says, the article says 3 million and,
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
And then you want to bring taxpayer together as one word.
I'm looking. I don't see it.
Second to last line.
Right.
Oh, okay, where it's blue, dummy.
Yes.
I'm the dummy, not you.
It's okay. The blue. It's okay.
You're not a dummy.
Not
This
at
is a
all.
really excellent document. No dummy could have written this.
Thank you.
It's true.
Can we keep going?
Sure.
All right, so Dana had questions about this.
Thought I saw a comment on the screen. The chat thing.
Um, That was from Paul. Okay. I think we've done what they're suggesting. Yep, I think we've done what they're suggesting.
We need a 9th FinCom member, Paul. That's pretty well crafted.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay, are we good to move on?
okay, off we go. Is that hyphenated?
Yeah, I wanted a hyphen.
Was I muted or not? I don't know.
I just the last sentence, I know your numbers are right. I trust that this borrowing will consume an average over the 30-year life, but do we want to acknowledge the near term divot, so to speak? I mean, just to be fully transparent.
Okay, what can we do?
Maybe this borrowing will consume an average of 70% for the 30-year life of the bond,
What we could do,
but the impact will be more significant in the
Early part of the
the first
earlier years of
5
the
years of the bond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm
go for it.
May I speak?
yes, Lynn?
Yes, thank you. I would just like to point out that we have a generous general reserve of over $260,000, which really is for fiscal year 23, which is one of those sort of beginning low points, will actually result in more funding capacity than we have in an average year. So I think the Community Preservation Committee, has the capacity to help Nahant continue to have a robust community preservation grant program.
We could say we could call out the lows and the low point and the high point. Low point being according, and I'm just looking at the schedule we were sent the other day, Lynn,
Mhm.
which doesn't, and
Okay.
I added in the fund balance to make it realistic. So the low point is fiscal 23 of
Right.
about $100,000.
Right.
And the high point is whatever the last year is. It's almost funny saying this, 2052.
Yeah.
I hope I'm around to see it. Anyway, the high point is
Yeah, you hope I'm not.
$630,000.
Mhm.
So people,
What if we just made a statement that said, or maybe we don't even need to, just that the associated bond council or the bond schedule is in the appendix?
okay,
I don't know.
And I will say that I've written an introduction to that piece that will be part of our insert. It'll be Appendix D. And that should be coming to you later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning in its entirety.
Thank you.
Why is it not microphone?
Lynn, does this process, did somebody just say it goes through bond counsel? Do they give us a thumbs up?
Sorry?
Do we have a thumbs up from a bond counsel? Question to Lynn.
So we have actually been in touch with Hilltop Securities through Allison and Town Hall. So that they're the ones that help generate that schedule, Jeff, and that projection.
Okay, so there's no approval process. So we can't state, well, we have a green light from bond counsel.
Well, I think the green light is that they see that we have the capacity, but we haven't initiated the bans
Okay,
process or
so we
any of
can't
that.
say that then.
I think we better be quiet about that. But we have the capacity. There's no limit on, there's nothing in the town's bonding capacity that would limit this.
Is that a?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
If everybody else is okay with it.
Okay. I'm kind of assuming that silence gives.
Yep, no,
consent.
that's fine.
I just saw a taxpayers that has, those damn taxpayers keep having spaces in the middle of them.
Yep, there it is in blue.
Top of the paragraph without it jumping. I think so. I think that makes it a little clearer. Is Josh or any of the selectmen with us?
I'm here, Bob.
So is this strictly correct?
Not necessarily,
Get rid of it.
yeah. Bond counsel will rule on that shortly.
All right, so let's just be silent on it.
Just an edit.
Mark.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Just an edit on the third to the bottom line in that paragraph. Mitigate much, should that be mitigate much of the financial risk?
Yes, it should. Good catch. Okay, and then the flow chart, just, I did run this past Jeff Blake, so he was okay with it. Actually, I think he sent it to Masterman too.
Good. So that's good that it's been checked.
And I don't know if Ken is with us. Thanks for the idea.
Okay,
Yeah, I already thanked him.
so that's
Hey, Bob, I had sent you an email, or I guess I'll ask as long as maybe Mark's here. Do you have copies of the appraisals that we can include in the book? And I guess, well, that's another question. I was assuming we should put them in there. Does everybody think that makes sense?
I would have to check with town council first,
Okay,
but I have no objection to doing that, but provided
okay,
town.
I'm happy to put it in there if I thought I had one,
We had a summary for John.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's all I mean. Just the summary is fine.
Yeah, I think the summary would be okay, but let me just confirm with town council. I
Okay,
don't think it'd be
all
a
right.
problem. The whole detail one, I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe we don't need the detail, just the summary. That I think that's.
I think the summary's on the website, the town
Yeah,
website.
I think so.
Is
So I
it?
think the summary would be okay.
Okay, I thought I went looking for it. I couldn't find it easily, but maybe I'll look again. Or Bob, do you have it? Do you have the summary? Not now, but that you can send me tomorrow.
Well, let me keep talking and I'll check the town website just to be sure it's there. No, that's not it. Hang on. I'm going to pull this off to the other screen so you guys can keep looking at that. Where's the menu thing?
Well,
Yeah, October 6, 2020, 430 Nahant Road appraisal summary.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me that so I can put it in the book.
I'll put a link to it in the chat window.
That's perfect. Thank you.
So I sent that as a private message to you. So
Josh sent it
oh, okay.
as well. Thank you, Josh.
All right. So I was trying to, you will find a summary of the
Appraisals.
thank you, Bill.
Top first sentence here regarding the town being forced to pay. Don't you mean unexpectedly large?
I do.
I mean, this section, Northeastern is going to argue for a valuation considerably above what we have. You know, from their point of view, they'll have their own, assessments. And that we're talking, they're talking about tens of millions of dollars. So not that we're going to put a number in here, but we can't expect to reasonably get our valuation. It's going to probably be more. But how do we treat that here? And what are we going to say to the town meeting? I mean, it just the paragraph above just talks about our appraisal. Northeastern's appraisals are gonna be different. They're gonna have different cases. And, you know, we don't know where it's gonna land.
That is true.
That depends on the court appointed.
Mediators.
Yeah, they set it. They decide what it should be.
All right, I think we've all read those documents. Thanks, Barbara. But just saying, we're not really
I mean,
addressing it here.
we could state the obvious and throw a sentence in that says, we anticipate that Northeastern will claim a higher value.
No, I don't think that's a good idea at all. I think that's unduly inflammatory. We don't know that for a fact. And we can't say that with any assurance.
All right, I mean, this is our analysis. So
Okay.
We on the projected cost to town?
I don't know, have we put to bed this paragraph?
I think so.
Okay, then we're on projected cost to the town.
Can I gotta stick something in here, but I ran a funny calculation. I went to Patriot Properties and the Warren Group, and I took some historical assessed values. I went to the Division of Local Services and got those historic numbers of what the effective tax rate was.
God bless you.
And I pretended that Northeastern was a taxpayer. So I took and I extrapolated some numbers. And I said, if Northeastern in 2021 was a taxpayer, our effective tax rate was 1.0500%. They would have paid $56,584.50 in taxes. I then took that number and said, straight line it over 40 years. I said, if they were a taxpayer and our effective rate, which is usually about 1%, went for 40 years, that'd be 2,263,000. And then I said, well, if they were a taxpayer and I doubled the value over the next 40 years because of improvements and so forth, I would expect them to pay $4,527,000 in property taxes. Simple. It's not, I made no attempt to, compound it, inflation or anything of that nature.
That
What I did was simple numbers for the next 40 years, pretending they were just a taxpayer like you and I.
Mhm.
And I came up with 4,500,000 over the next 40 years. And
that's based on the valuation of the existing property.
yeah, the first one, the 2,263,000 is the evaluation as it stands. I did a historic and I also, but I assumed that the valuation is going to go up over the course of time. Over the last 30 years, it went from,
Yeah, the valuation is going to have a huge spike once they finish the building.
so I would have to do a more complex, but my reason for doing it was to just do a sniff test,
Mhm.
on a $6 million number. Where did that come from? And so it's probably flawed, but I don't know whether anybody else has done anything any more sophisticated.
Yeah, well, were you on the committee at the time? I don't remember. When we first were trying to estimate this, we did something similar where we said, okay, look, we think the assessed value of the properties, I don't remember what the numbers were. We think the assessed value of the new building is going to be this. And if you apply the tax rate, that is kind of a proxy for what it would cost the town, because the town's going to spend the money that gets raised by taxes. So,
Right.
we tried to do something similar, and then I think it was John.
So you projected the assessed value and then the increased in assessed value based on additional buildings and so forth.
Yep.
Um,
And
that
what we
applied-
did, we backed out the portion of the tax rate that is school costs.
Oh, so you even brought it down,
Yeah,
reduced it. Okay.
But wasn't it, we did it based on the proposed square footage of the new building and a kind of rough approximation of
yes.
valuation based on square footage.
yes. Yeah, and I think we thought that the per capita approach that we ended up using and RKG ended up using was a better way to do it.
Yeah, I know RKG had their methodology. And I was trying to, just for my own head, in my own head, trying to say, well, what if they were just a taxpayer like you and I? How much revenue would they have generated?
Mhm.
So,
I was trying to do it retroactively as well, back to when they purchased the property. And Sheila took me down in the basement and pointed to a whole bunch of dusty handwritten ledgers and said, you'll find everything you need there.
yeah, it's
And
funny.
I stopped at
world's-
that point.
The world stops at 1992 as far as computers are concerned.
Yeah.
This is the area that it just, so many questions, and I'm wondering what's the value of it? And call it my ignorance, not knowing.
What's the value of what?
Well, I mean, I understand the value of this in negotiating with Northeastern in the future. I truly do understand that value. What's the value of this in the eminent domaining 2 articles?
As well, to build on that, Jeff, this is not going to correlate to budgets in the future.
No, you wouldn't expect that it would. I mean, this is a projection, so.
Yeah, this is a question from one person to another, Bob. Would this add information to you in making your decision, or does it complicate the decision?
Let me answer it this way. When I started doing these computations, it was an eye opener for me that it was going to cost, well, was and is costing the town this amount of money, that much.
Right.
And that makes it even more important that we be able to negotiate from a position of strength with Northeastern so we can get a fair share.
No, and I agree with you, but for the taking of the property or the easement or eminent domain, does it impact your decision to do that? Or does it just add complication to that decision? Because we both know their projections.
Yeah.
And I've done years and years of projections. I don't want to admit them. But they are just that, they're projections.
Yeah, exactly. That's all. They are just projections. Yes, absolutely. Was it Value. Yeah. I mean, absolutely, it adds value.
But whether we take it, let's assume we go in and we take it. We win eminent domain.
Mhm.
These costs are still there.
Well, the existing costs are certainly still there, yes.
Well, if
If, you know,
they
if,
find an alternative to the
right, yeah,
expansion,
right. I mean, if we win eminent domain and they say, the hell with it, you know, what, we're not gonna build, then great, that's a huge success. If they, as you suggest, they say, oh, well, we'll build something else, I think they will think twice before they try to just force something down our throats. But you're, you know, to your point, if they do build something else, the costs are still there. But at
yeah.
least, you know, at least you're in a position to do something about it.
I'm sorry, Bob. So what can you do about it other than enforce the existing zoning laws? I mean, like, I think, yeah, I'm not getting what we can do about it. What can we do about it? If they decide to build on a site, the existing site where they are now,
Yeah,
and
John,
in a
John,
compliant way. Yeah,
could I interject? I'm
Sure.
not
Yeah.
But I would envision a negotiated settlement if the town in Northeastern could agree upon an alternative site at their location. That part of that negotiation would be a pilot
Mhm.
after that. And because there will be an additional cost to the town for the expansion. And I would expect that part of that negotiation would be a pilot payment to the town.
I guess my question is, what does it, I'm a voter and I'm voting on eminent domain. Is this some way gonna affect my vote? I know you're working on it. I don't know how successful you'll be. I hope you'll be tremendously successful. But does it just complicate the issue of eminent domain?
If I were a voter, I would want to know how much that thing up there is going to cost. Because that colors the way I might vote. If it's a small cost or, you know, nothing. But back to the whole thing about, you know, eminent domain being a philosophical thing, I might say, nah, you know, that's okay. I'm willing to bear a small cost. But this is not a small cost. This is a huge cost. And I think it absolutely needs to be disclosed.
But it's a huge cost that may very well happen.
Yeah.
No matter how successful we
Yes.
are.
Yes. I mean, you know, if that's the concern, then maybe we should be more explicit in saying that.
So would we say that up in our bullet points 1 through 4? You know, put it in. I can't even remember exactly what those are, but
Yeah,
is that,
they do not mention the projected cost at all.
no, I mean, okay, all right.
I mean, it doesn't mean we can't add them, but
Yeah, no.
You know, I did some thinking today and in my mind, and I went back 47 years. And 47 years ago, there was a lot of speculation as to what was going to happen if eminent domain, you know, if we bought
Yeah, you're referring to the town meeting where they decided not to buy the property, yes?
Yeah, but it was all of the doubt of what might happen if we buy it. All of the things that are gonna just, oh man, the traffic, the this, the that, the other thing. You know, and I was moved by one woman who said, can't we just find a way of making this thing happen? I look at what you wrote so far on the two articles, the mitigation of the risk, which was a huge point last fall with Dana. And I agreed with it that we have to address this risk. And you did, and I tell you, the selectmen did a great job addressing the majority of that risk mitigation and the stop losses and, you know, commingling of funds. Those points sit back and make a compelling case for going forward with the taking of eminent domain. But this is all projections of what might happen, and sometimes I could interpret that, oh yeah, we're going to try to stop this. Well, we not, maybe, I don't know that. I hope you do, but I can't, I don't feel comfortable saying you'll succeed. And I don't know whether I'm beating a dead horse. I just wanted to express it on this section of it. Up until this point, I love it. It's succinct and it answers a lot of my questions. But that's just me.
Jeff, the points you were talking about, you kind of encapsulated them in a document to me. Do you want me to pull that document up, or do you think that would be good, or you think you've touched on the
I don't
main
know.
points?
I've just, you know, what we've covered up to this point, to me, simplifies the whole taking process, which is how do we fund it? And have we crossed our I's and dotted, what is it? Crossed T's and dotted I's. Have we done our due diligence? Have we addressed the risk mitigation? And the answer is yes, 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 yes. Are you going to get rid of the fear, the doubt? You're going to get rid of the speculation? I don't know. And I'm okay with it because I think information is power. I'm asking it in regards to, is it complicating the issue? And I do agree, by the way, it is instrumental in the negotiation effort, but we're not voting on on the negotiation effort.
What does the rest of the committee think?
I agree with you, Bob. I find this very persuasive. It was eye-opening. So I think it's important for taxpayers to think about this.
I think that it's been a question that's come up over and over and over. What is the cost going to be? So I think it's important to include this.
But I just heard that these costs will be with the expansion, and they could occur with the expansion, and the luck out of getting the eminent domain taking will also have these costs.
Mhm.
My statement was could, I don't know.
Could, that, okay, could.
Yeah, it could. Again, the thought that Mark put out is if you have a negotiated solution, that negotiation, that's another thing that's hard to say. Negotiated solution should include a pilot to address this very issue, this very concern of the expense.
Another point to make is it realistic to expect a pilot after an eminent domain if successful? a question.
We can hope.
Well, as we know, pilots are completely voluntary.
Maybe we shouldn't use the word pilot because you're right, it is voluntary. So, hopefully the negotiated solution would include a guaranteed payment stream to the town of Nahant. And Mark, if
I
you're
think
still there,
we've stretched here to solutions. I think we need to go back to just presenting what's here. We need to be mindful of our scope.
okay,
Another idea is to make some reference to the RKG report rather than trying to reinterpret it here.
I like this a lot. I would vote as a committee whether or not we take it out.
yeah.
I agree with you, Judy. You think this is useful, correct?
Absolutely. thank
Yeah, I
you.
do as well.
And this is, well, the numbers, this piece of it down here is straight out of the RKG report.
Mhm.
Obviously the chart is my own based on those figures. And the assumptions are also out of the RKG report, although I have summarized them here. There are actually more assumptions than this, but these are the ones that are the key drivers. And one thing I will do, just if we decide to keep this down in this paragraph or whatever, that there's a bunch of times water and sewer costs are capitalized and they should not be, but this is this in a, no, it's not. All right. So while you're talking, I'm going to uncapitalize this.
I mean, I'll go back to just thinking of our audience here and restating RKG assumptions to our comments. Maybe it's helpful, maybe it's not, and probably going to lose half of our audience when we get to this point of this document. So
3/4.
That's
I don't think that should negate the fact that we put the information in. I mean, if we wanted to do something that for our audience, if we thought our audience wasn't capable, we would have gone back to the recommendation only about the paragraph that says, as a committee, we couldn't come to a conclusion. And then we wouldn't have done anything.
And
So
I
I
also
think that
think,
we were undervaluing our audience and their ability to understand what's going on.
I agree, Judy, and I also think that people can skim. And so you need to have the information. And if they decide they want to skim, fine, but then they can go back to it. They'll have time during the meeting to be looking at this over and over again.
Well, they come to their mailbox, right? They should come.
Well, that's right, even before the meeting.
2 weeks
Exactly.
before.
that
And
is
if they don't come with questions and it comes on the floor, then that's not anything, that's completely out of our control.
and that is in part why this is at the end, because I know this is this can be daunting, but you don't, if you don't want to dig down it to this level of detail, you don't. There have been a lot of questions floating around about this RKG report.
We have a very, very smart town. We
I,
have a lot of very educated people who are very vested in this.
yes, I go to town meeting sometimes thinking, oh my God, they're never going to be able to figure out this complicated issue on town meeting floor. And I am always surprised how it's sometimes a winding path to get there, but they get there.
I also think we owe it to the town. This is information that we have been, collecting, and it's important to have it in one place so that they can look at it in the context of the issue here. So I think this is a very important to have this part of our response. And I think it's important to have it summarized the way you've done it, Bob. It's very useful because if you have an appendix, people think of an appendix as an appendix, right? It's like a tail at the end. You've got it here, so people are going to go through it. And if they want to skim, that's fine. But it's here.
Right, and there are some people who will glean more information from charts and diagrams, and some that will get it more from the verbiage. So to have it both together, I think is important.
I agree.
If I ask, is there some way that we could put a caveat that these are only projections? And as the
It's
finance.
there. It's already there, projects.
Yeah, it's in there a couple times.
You could put down a projection as an educated guess.
Is that you do it?
Yes, I'm still awake.
Okay. I'm not, again, I only question, the more information, I only make the observation that it could complicate people's decision-making, but I'm not, my feet are not locked in stone. So I just ask people to think about it and give consideration to it. Not advocating. Boy, I can shut an audience up, can't I?
Oh my heavens.
Well, I will say again, I find it useful. It's useful for me.
I absolutely find it useful as well.
We'll go with the majority.
And Jeff, you don't shut us up. We become pensive.
So have we then agreed that this is our final?
I would go with that.
I like it. I would go
We
with
want
it.
to ask anybody on chat if they have any ideas. I have
No.
not been
Oh,
following
no.
them.
No, Jeff, I don't want to do that.
Oh,
I don't. I don't. This is a finance committee discussion at a finance committee meeting, and it's our
yeah.
responsibility.
Yes, Judy, thank you.
They can certainly make their comments when we open it up to public comment.
Agreed.
Right.
We're not even done tonight, guys.
Right, I know. And it's 9:30.
Right. So again, I ask, have we agreed that this is what we want to go with?
I think this is an excellent document. And I think that by pulling it all together in one place and having it in different formats with charts, the straightforward in, various ways of stating the information and summarizing. I think it's very useful.
I make a motion that we go with this recommendation.
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Zahora,
Aye.
Vanderslice, aye.
Army, aye.
Beatty, aye.
all right. Lewis, I.
Fulgham, aye.
We've
we
got,
got a thumbs up from Dana.
we've got Brown and Sheehan. Did
No,
Brown, aye.
Brown, aye.
Sheehan, no.
Right, Sheehan, no. So it is, I'm counting fingers now.
7-1.
7-1 in favor.
Yep.
The motion carries. All right.
Thank you, Bob.
Bob, thank you so much.
Okay, so John, as a practical matter, what do we need to do here?
So I guess just to remind me, what our thought was we were gonna take this statement and put it below the eminent domain taking article as our recommendation statement. And in Article V for the CPC, we were gonna refer people to see this statement. Is
That,
that accurate?
that was my thought, yes.
I would propose that that's what we do.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good plan.
Okay, all right, but my question was more about, the logistics of getting this to you in a format that's easiest.
Just send me the Word document and I was, okay, I get your point about the graphics. If you can fix the font on the charts and the tables to be more pronounced and legible in terms of size,
Yeah,
then I can do the rest.
okay.
Can we just flip through it one quickly time to see if there are any of those blue markings?
Blue or red?
The blue ones where it suggests you might want to look here. I think we're all good.
Yeah, the red ones are misspelling, so they would be important.
No, I
Right.
know.
For the town, what does it not like?
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Wants a comma after that.
No, it doesn't.
Well, it does.
It
I'm not.
does. I understand
I'm
why.
not sure whether it's right or not, but it does.
Yeah, it means there's a little pause there and it makes, it scans a little better. Yep.
It could be.
Oh, my God, you've got to read Mary Norris.
Okay. What are, Bill, you've said that a bunch of times. What should we read?
She's the editorial, she's the comma lady. She did all the, Mary Norris did all the editing for the New Yorker magazine for the last 50 years.
Okay, so it's Mary Norris.
Yeah, the
And-
comma queen.
That's the title of the book?
Yeah. Oh, books, articles, lots.
Okay. Spaces are here. 1, 2, 3. So there's one too many spaces there.
Hey, Bob.
Yes, sir.
So maybe the thing to do for where those two graphics are is to make them put one on, expand them so each of them is the full page width. Does that make sense? And then put
Yeah.
one on top and one on the bottom rather than side by side.
You could do that.
That would probably help. That might be enough to make those figure legends legible.
Okay. All right, so first I'll try to, well, yeah, you're right. If we make it bigger, it should, okay, we'll do that.
Yeah.
We're looking for blue and red, right? Why does it not like north? I guess it just doesn't like,
Just doesn't like it.
northeastern.
Yep.
I didn't mean it the way that
Oh,
came.
I know. I don't, no, yeah.
Looks good.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna monkey with the graphs. I'm not gonna change numbers or anything, just see if I can make them more bold or more bigger or both. Okay. The letter.
Thank you again, Bob.
Yep.
Sure.
Save this, Bob.
Yeah, it's automatically saving itself.
Good, thank you.
Oh, I know. What my question for John was, which way did you decide to justify? Did you leave it ragged right like this, or did you justify right and left?
I don't even know. I don't think I've finished that. I don't even,
Well, okay.
I-
Let's just leave it alone. That's a nit.
yeah.
Okay.
Or you can talk me through how to do what you're just talking about, because I don't know.
No, well, yeah, you just highlight what you want. And then it would be, right now it is
Left.
left justified, and this critter here.
Block.
What does that do?
Oh,
Oh, that's actually, I don't care. What do people think? I could go with,
If it's an extra step you have to do with the entire book, John,
yeah, that's it. Whatever easiest for the book.
I'll play with it and see what it looks like and how much it messes things up.
And you'll do what's easiest for you.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not the end of the world if it's not consistent.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
is definitely not.
Yeah, I think it looks, I mean, so again.
We need to
so
work
what-
on the letter now. This is fine. We're,
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do again is take this document and whatever letter we come up with and put them into the draft PDF. And I'm gonna try to send that by, I don't know, 1 o'clock tomorrow. And then hopefully you guys can go through the 200 pages and decide if there's any gross things that need to be fixed. You know, again, it's not going to be wordsmithing all the appendix items. And then I guess I'll just have to send it to the printer by, you know, end of the business day. So, but at least somebody other than me, because my eyes will be spinning, will have to look at it.
Okay.
All
well, I
right.
already sent you a few of the little extra
Yeah,
fly specs.
I fixed all those.
I know you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I have not even tried to begin the cover letter.
Has anybody? I haven't either.
That somebody was kind of circulating around a potential topics for cover letter?
I sent you an email with my thoughts, the three
Yeah,
topics that I
let me
was,
pull up
I
Jeff's.
don't know whether that's a start. That
Yeah,
was
no,
my
I think
attempt.
that's
Yeah, another place to start might be last year's cover letter too.
You know, we have a history of very long cover letters with lots of things to say. How about this year, we're just concise?
Yes.
That it's been a very difficult year. The warrant, you know, we have a 2 years worth of warrant articles at one time. And we appreciate everybody's patience.
Yep. And you know, look to the recommendations following each article for.
Just look to the recommendations following each article.
Yeah.
After a long, hard deliberation, just, I think, I appreciate the time and effort that goes into those letters. But I don't know that they're necessary when we have a 200-page book.
Do we need to make the distinction between recommendation, not recommend, and no recommendation?
There's I'll double check, but in the book, there's a kind of town meeting primer. And I think that those definitions might be in that appendix, but if you think we should put them up front.
No, I was asking a question.
Yeah.
What do folks think?
No, I think if it's in the primary, I really do recommend an incredibly concise letter this year.
Then I like the concise letter. We're giving people a lot to read. And I think we want to let them know it's been a challenging year. And in its essence, this is a double warrant.
It is a double warrant. I think we thank the people of the administration for the work that they've done.
Yes,
the committees and the volunteers who have continued on even in a time of pandemic. But I don't think we need to be verbose.
I agree.
Julie, what do you think, Bob?
I
John?
I
No,
absolutely
I'm,
agree.
yeah, I'm all up for it. Um, I'm looking through last year's cover letter. We did include a paragraph or two about town meeting timing, venue, and content, where we talked about COVID and how it's going to be in a tent and all the rest of that. Should we include that?
Um, it-
Yeah, yes, please, but you don't have to write it. I'm sending it to John in the morning. It's the same thing as last year's, just with this year's dates, because there's really the same setup.
With the map,
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. I thought we had it at the beginning of the book with the map.
yeah, but you guys don't have to worry about writing it. I'll
Excellent.
send the updated version to John in the morning and just throw it in there somewhere in the beginning, if you don't mind.
Barbara or Judy, do you have any time tomorrow to work on a letter?
I do.
Okay. 'Cause I've got 2 Zoom meetings in the morning, but then I'd be free in the afternoon.
No, I'm the next time I'm free between 5 and 6 tomorrow. I've got meetings from 8 to 5 and then again at 6.
Maybe I can make a shot before I go to work and send it over to you, Barbara,
Sure.
and then you can, expand, delete, add.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do it with my morning coffee.
Do you think that we need to have a meeting, a quick meeting as a committee just to review the letter?
We won't be able to post that.
Yeah, I mean, we can do what we do with a lot of things. Send it out, and if anybody see something totally egregious, they can, I think, just respond individually to me if I write it, not having a deliberation with all the committee.
What we're saying essentially here is we've agreed to have a very short, straightforward, thanking
Right.
people for their attention.
Right.
Thanking for everybody's effort and cooperation during COVID and what Tony will have. And so the content we're agreeing on now.
Yeah. So I'll just put it into some kind of order.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
It's
And
not
then I'll
out,
look at it.
and it's not out of the ordinary that we've done it that way.
We might even mention, use the idea, double warrant is really what we're asking them to do. I don't know if we maybe don't want to say that because we do want them to, obviously.
And definitely 2 years worth of articles.
Right.
No, I wrote it all down.
Thank you.
Here, 2 years warrant articles. Appreciate all the.
Thank you, Tony and Allison.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Tell,
And all the committees that continue on even during.
All the
Yeah.
committees, all the volunteers. who
So think
worked
of all the
through
committee
year.
work.
John,
It's
you're
gone
gonna
into
send
this.
us a final warrant book tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be in with everything. Yeah, the full thing.
If I sit down and do whatever edits I can, when do you need my response by? Don't get pressured.
I don't even know, Jeff. As soon as possible. Like I think I have my second vaccine appointment at 2:30, and
Oh, John.
so I'll hopefully, yeah, probably by 3. How about that?
Get it back to you by 3.
Or 3:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do my best.
This is Tony. I'm sorry to add just one more person. If you're gonna thank Allison, if you could also include Debbie Waters.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
yeah. Barbara and Julie, as soon as I find it, I will email you an editable version of last year's letter.
Okay,
Okay, good.
thank you, Bob.
And Julie, I'll look at this first thing in the morning too. So what time did you say?
I'm going to do it with my morning coffee, so that could be anywhere between 5 and 9. The cats get me up at 5, so.
Julie, if you want to send it to me, I will, I'll try to slip it in between.
Yeah, I'll send it out.
I have time kind of off and on through the day.
I do, too, but I have a lot of time during the day. I don't,
Well, I'll put it together and then we can tweak it.
I mean, tomorrow I
Thank you
have.
so much.
I don't
Okay.
have to.
It is interesting, and someday we'll talk about it. I know it's the way we've always done it. I wonder when long letters started.
I think it depends on each year. I mean, last year, when we had the 2.5 proposition, we had to do a little extra in that. Last year, with the onset of COVID, we had to address a lot of that and the extra expenses. So I think each year is different. But I have a whole bunch of warrants I can look at too.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Really, thank you.
Short, concise is the key word.
Concise. Grateful and concise. 2 words.
Got it. Gratitude, attitude.
Oh, I just remember, yeah, I've got something early morning, so I won't be able to get back to you on it until around 10.
Okay, I'll send it out and when you have a moment, look at it.
Yeah, I've got an early morning blocked out, but
No problem.
by mid-morning, 10:30.
Yep. And that's when I start all my busyness. But I'll send it off.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
very much.
Thanks for all the ideas.
Okay, so where are we here? Are we done?
We are done.
I would like to think so.
Would you like to ask for public comment?
Yes, we should ask for public comment for anyone that's left. I haven't even looked to see.
Oh, there's quite a few people still there. Lots of smiling faces.
And all right, so we've dealt with everything in the chat window. Any public comment from anyone? Tony,
Just, thank you guys so much. You guys are incredible, absolutely incredible. Every one of you bring, I sent you an email earlier today, but.
Yes,
mean it,
thank you, Tony.
And I mentioned it in the board of
John
selectmen
is
meeting.
incredible.
It's not just, you guys, CPC, just like so many different volunteers, and there's just so much work that goes into this, and it's above and beyond your regular job and life, all volunteered, and you guys bring an incredible insight and passion, and the town is lucky to have you. So just a big thank you from me to you.
thank you, sir.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Tony.
Keep
Thank
going.
you.
All right, and on that high note,
Adjourn.
I think a motion to adjourn is in order.
Second.
Third,
All in favor, Vanderslice, aye.
Louis, I.
Beatty, aye.
Brown eye, how about that? I figured.
Hey,
Ultra my.
Sahora, aye.
She and I.
Excellent.
thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm sure we
Thank
will be
you.
meeting sometime before town meeting, but
Oh, yeah.
I can confidently say no meeting next week.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.